he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. This is the story of how I found my why before it was too late. So here's a story I never really wanted to tell. We're gonna have to go back about 4 years. It's 2014. Same year I got out of the military. And the military was literally everything to me. It was everything I knew. It was my purpose in life. It was everything I ever wanted. It was who I was. I wrapped up my whole identity into it. And when I got out, it was like I lost a huge part of it. You know, I was dealing with a lot of stuff when I got out. And it was not a good time for me. And transitioning for anybody is difficult. No matter what you're transitioning from, any transition is difficult. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a transition in life and it's hard. But I got to a point where I didn't want to live. And I had been in there for a very, very long time where there was no desire to do anything. You know, I had lost everything. I had no relationships. I had no friends. I had nothing. And you know, all the while, I was seeing doctors, taking my medications, doing everything like I was supposed to. And you do what you need to do, but it never really did anything for me. Because in the end, yes, I was staying alive and I was doing all the steps that I needed to do to keep living, but I wasn't really living. I was just going through the motions. I didn't have anything driving me. I didn't have anything pushing me through the day. I had nothing to get me out of bed in the morning. There was literally nothing. Okay, thinking back to 2014, like when I first got out of the military, what was your impression of me?
I'll never forget.
It's all right.
I'll never forget when I saw you when you came back.
We don't have to do this.
No. We have to. The coffee will help. When I saw you when you came back, it was really interesting because I was glad to be around you, but I had no idea what had happened. And I wasn't going to probe, I wasn't going to ask you a lot of questions, but I knew that there was something seriously wrong. And you were not the same Kyle. How I knew that there was something really different was one of your favorite actors is Will Ferrell. And we purposely got a movie to watch where it was on his TV. And it was Will Ferrell in a remake of a show that I used to watch as a kid called Land of the Lost. And you were not into the movie. You were just sitting there almost in your own little world at times. I didn't know what 1,000-yard stare meant. Now you're back and you're with your brothers. And they're glad to see you. And everybody can tell that you've changed. And I mean, change is normally okay. But how you changed was something that no one was aware of. And how they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, my inner dialogue is not the best.
You are fucking stupid. You can't do anything right. You will never be successful. Your life is worthless. You are worthless. You mean nothing to nobody. You should just end it all tonight.
And a lot of times I just don't know where to go, what to do. So I keep them locked in a cage, deep inside my mind. And I do it every single day. I save myself from myself.
That is not the answer, and it never is. You will be successful. You can do this. You are a kind person. Be kind to yourself. Don't give up. They're depending on you.
It's like, even though I know what happiness should feel like, I can't ever truly feel it. Everything I feel is always numb. The crazy part is that no matter how numb I feel, I can always feel anger. I can always feel that rage. But I can never feel true happiness. I don't know why.
From that time, from 2014 to now, 2018, you have changed tremendously. You are a person who was searching. You're still searching. There are certain things that you want to do. You get frustrated sometimes with scheduling and just your mind races, and you probably stay up at night because everything else that's going on. And some days you just want it to stop. And I'm sure, in my own opinion, that there have been many days where you've probably wanted to be one of those 22 a day. I'm glad that you haven't. I mean, we hear about it a lot, and we see it. But from a parent's perspective, all we ever care about is our kids. But we don't go through the pain. We don't go through the suffering of what somebody else does. And we don't know because you won't tell us the whole story.
Fuck. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh, fuck, man. Fuck. Oh, God. The thing is, like, I deal with a lot. I don't know what it is. It's just I hit like this wall. Oh my God. That shit was just too real. So goddamn critical of myself. You know, the funny thing is that I've spent the past, 3 weeks I've been doing this thing where I get up early every day. I've been waking up with a purpose every day. I've had goals. I've been feeling really good. Like, I feel like I've been doing really good. I've been working on this freaking studio and but I think the thing is I'm just keeping myself so damn busy that I'm not actually sitting and processing anything. I think one of my biggest weaknesses is the fact that I just keep everything to myself. Depression, anxiety, those things, they all go together, and it's just, I can be perfectly fine, and then it's just like I become completely overwhelmed. Yet it's like I can't feel any of it. And then when I do, it just explodes. I'm gonna finish this damn room it's the last damn thing I do. So I presented you with literally a million problems and not one solution. It took me a while to figure out what it was that I was good at, what it was that I enjoyed. I didn't have anything that I enjoyed at this point, or at least not that I knew. And I had to figure out what that was.
Now, I think the saving grace for you, Kyle, has been the fact that you like to work out. That's the one thing that takes a couple of hours out of your day that you focus on, and you see the effects in your body, the change in your body from the things that you're doing and the food that you're eating. It's something you can control. And that's great for you because it's important to you. You've got to go to the gym. You've got to do these things. It helps you stay sane, if you will, and maybe fight off some of the other stuff that you'd be thinking about if you were sitting at home. In the room that we're sitting in, people probably have no idea the amount of dedication, time, and perfection that you put into this, from just concept to completion, or near completion, is not something that just any old person will do. I won't do that. I would never do a room like this. I don't have the patience for it. Nor can I see it in my mind that that's how you get to this point. Okay? But that's how you are.
Growing up, I always loved cars. Always loved cars. I loved working on cars. I loved being around cars. I loved doing anything that had to deal with cars. It was one of my passions. It was something that I always wanted to do. But I had forgotten about that. I had been so invested in everything else, I totally forgot about cars.
I gotta get comfy. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Describe to me what you remember about the day when you first introduced me to Mighty Car Mods and all, and where we came up with the idea for this whole thing.
Well, I remember coming home from work. I was still working at Alamo Cafe as a server, and I just got lunch. We sat down, and like I ate, and then I ended up drinking pre-workout because we were gonna go to the gym. So I got the pre-workout. I mixed mine. I mixed yours. And then like I went to the computer, and it was like, you know, where the TV's at. It was like to the left of the TV. And I started watching. You were watching TV. I don't know what it was. Something on Netflix. And then I was watching Mighty Car Mods, which I used to watch all the time, like when I was like didn't have a car yet. So I looked at their stuff. I liked what they did with their S2000 when they were doing like the nitrous and all the dumb stuff to it. I just thought it was cool that these two guys were just like hanging out. And then I was like, hey Kyle, look at these guys. They're pretty cool. They're fun to watch. And then you fell into it. And then I think it was actually the episode, I think they said something about Keiichi Tsuchiya, and you didn't know who the hell that was. And I was like, what? And I was like, you know, drifting, like drifting. And you're like, what's drifting? Kind of like, it's just like in Tokyo Drift when the guy's like, well, drifting, what's that?
You know what DK stands for? Donkey Kong. Drift King. Drift. What do you mean, drift?
Still need a dictionary?
No, same concept. You were like, it ain't going in a straight line. What kind of racing is that? No, but
5 days later, we went and picked up the RX-7 that I now have sitting in my driveway. It was not anything like it is now. When we first picked it up, it was not even running. It had rotary in it. It was just junk. It was a total piece of crap. And when I saw the car, I knew, I was like, this car is basically a direct representation of me. I saw so much of myself in this car. It was broke down. It wasn't working. It had rust. It had dents. It was beaten up. It was on its last legs. The thing wouldn't even start. Okay, like it was so close to a representation of how I felt, and I connected with this car, and I know what that sounds like, but it was such a great representation of where I was at. And part of me thought that if I can fix this car, maybe I can fix myself. And that's where it all started. What is your fondest memories of working on these cars since we started doing it?
It was at Paloma when we bought it. It was the night that we took the engine out for the first time. Yeah. So we didn't have any idea what we were doing. We backed the car in. It had the rotary in it, and we said it's not coming out of this garage, so it's got the V8 back in it. So we ended up like one night, we're like, all right, we're gonna get this thing out. We don't care what gets in our way. So we started on bolting all the coolant hose, we drained all the fluids, we got all that loosened up, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna start undoing the wiring harness. And then we're like, why are we gonna undo this? Let's just cut it. Oh my God. That was the worst decision we ever made. So we cut the wiring harness, the whole thing, it was like that thick. Cut all the way through it, but guess what? We got that engine out that night by about 2 a.m. And we literally just stopped for a second, looked at each other, and we're like, did we really just do that? And then so the saga begins with the RX-7. And we went to go eat at night at the place where I used to work. That was our thing when we'd celebrate something, either leg day or whenever we started working on the RX-7, if we got something good done, we go on Saturday night to Alamo Cafe, the place I used to work at, and get fajitas, and it was amazing. And then anyways, so yeah, no, it was all spawned from that one moment that I showed him Mighty Car Mods.
And I remember this whole time thinking that, each day I had a new purpose, I had a new task. It was, I got up in the morning and I thought, ooh, I need to go and paint the dash. Or, ooh, I need to go and work on getting a mount done for the engine. I need to go and do this. So I always had steps for little things that I needed to do here and there. And every day I would wake up and I would think, okay, today I'm gonna prep the engine bay for paint. I'm gonna clean it off. I'm gonna start prepping and peeling all the old paint away. And then I'm gonna go and lay the new paint. And it's beautiful, it looks nice, it looks like a nice engine bay. We're slowly starting to piece the car together. And then the next day we would be up and we would go and oh, let's go and pull out the differential. And let's get it ready so that way we can reinstall it with a better one. So we put in a Turbo 2 diff that we rebuilt. And then we started modifying brackets and we made a radiator mount so that way we could put a new radiator in there. And then we retrofitted a clutch on there. We used a whole bunch of different things to try to make it fit. And each day I would have a new task, and each one of these tasks would just layer on top of another, and it would just give me that little bit of purpose that I needed just to get me over the hump. When we first got the RX-7 and brought it back to the house in Paloma, and what you recall of us actually putting it together, and that whole process, if you noticed anything during that time.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah. Watching you and Austin develop a relationship with older and younger brothers, the excitement, the enthusiasm you had, I had never seen before. Not since you had gotten out. This, you were excited every day after. You took that motor out, then you go and get a 350, you got paid $250 for it, whatever it was. You bring it down out of a Suburban, you bring it down to Duffin's motor, and you get it bored out, and you do all these other things to it, you make it more powerful. And you and your brother are doing it together. So, and you're doing most of it. Anyways, long story short, you finally get this beautiful motor built. And you're lowering it into the car and Grandma's there with Mom. At first it doesn't start, you always have the gas issue or whatever, and you're putting stuff in it and it starts to run.
Take 3. Okay, we got what, take 6?
Take 6!
Woo! Take number 7.
Try not to do myself. We just gotta get the timing right.
Take 12. That's full retard. It won't let me retard it.
sure.
And then you guys send me the video when it starts. To see how you were beaming because you built this monster, this Frankenstein, if you will.
So I remember this plain as day when I think back to the very first time I got to drive the RX-7. It was pretty late at night. I remember we had finally got it running. We finally got this thing started after all that time. We went through all this work to get this thing together, and we finally got it going. We go and we take it out, and we get on the road. And I remember we pull out of our house and out of our neighborhood. And as we're pulling out, we go down this main drive that we always go down. This is where we'd always go and test cars. And we went down there, and we start going, and we're just cruising, just haven't even broken the engine in yet. We're laughing, and we're having a good time, and we can't believe it. After all this work, it's finally driving. It's on the road. And then I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a little gas. I give it a little bit of gas, and boom, immediately just start seeing steam pop up, and we have all this stuff just kind of come out of nowhere. And I remember just thinking, like, it didn't matter. Yeah, it was broken and it kept messing, and I remember that specific thought of once we finally got to drive it, even though it broke down, like we got it on the road finally. And that feeling, the fact that I felt that, I mean, I lit up. I remember feeling so overwhelmed with emotion at this point, but it was so positive. It's the first time I really felt like I had succeeded at something in a very long time.
Yep. We got coolant everywhere.
Hey, I'm glad that's the only problem. I'm glad it wasn't something more major.
How's the temperature? Fine. Ugh. Well, I got a good video.
Yo, high five, dude. And it was just such an amazing feeling to me that words can't even begin to explain it.
The fondest moment of all was when we finally got the V8 in it. We finally got it built. We got all this man hours in it. We got our blood, sweat, and tears in it. Literal tears. I cried over that car twice. Like, distinctly remember crying over it twice. Not the car itself, but like the emotions that were instilled with it. Like stuff that happened beforehand, and then you go to work on the car to like work your shit out, and like you just start breaking down when you're working on it. That's how you know you're like getting your emotions out in the right way and not doing the wrong things. But the fondest moment was when we finally got it drivable, and we actually didn't even have the dash in it or anything. No speedo, no, or we did have an RPM gauge, but it was that crappy AutoZone, like $40 big old tech, and that's how we judged our speed, or we used an app, one of the two. Anyways, but we drove it like 25 miles up to my parents' house on the road, and it was like this coolest thing to be like driving in it. People look over and are like, what the fuck is that thing? Like, because it looked like a piece of garbage, but they are like, what is in that? Because like you don't know, you don't expect it to have a V8.
That blinker though.
And just getting to finally feel that like we were like that close throughout the whole process, but something always messed up every single time. It's like you're about to get ready to drive it, something messes up. You're about to get ready to like start it, something messes up. You're about to get ready to go, you name it, something would always go wrong. And when we were finally able to drive it, it was like a culmination of all of that time and effort, and it was just so great. One of the best feelings I've ever felt in my life.
We all wonder, what are we really here for? You're gonna know when you make a difference. You're gonna know that because it'll come back to you tenfold. It's almost like when we help people, whether it's in real estate or whatever, and you give back to somebody, the feeling you get is just phenomenal. Especially when you see in their own reaction how much they appreciate what you've done. It can't be explained. And money doesn't solve the problem. It's just a joy in the heart. And that's how you are. You're a giving person.
Thanks for doing it. I appreciate it. I do.
I love you.
I love you too. What is your purpose?
Like I'm allowed to talk about me? Okay.
I want to know. What
Yeah, no, my purpose, I have multiple purposes, honestly, in my opinion. I don't think there is one purpose. I want to be able to help you in any way you can with this channel and doing all this stuff with these cars. Like, it's a fun time. I enjoy hanging out and working on cars with my brother. I mean, it's a lot of people can't say that about their family, and a lot of people don't have that bond, and it means a lot. These guys are flying around up here. That's what I want to do. Like, I want to be a fighter pilot in the Air Force. So I'm in the ROTC. If you guys didn't know, I'll find out in February whether I'll be a pilot or not. And that's really what I've been working forward to for a very long time. And Kyle was actually the one that showed me that. I showed him Mighty Car Mods, and he showed me that the Air Force was having a pilot shortage. And I was like, hey, you want to try? And I was like, well, I'll think about it. And then I ended up trying it, and here I am. But if it wasn't for Kyle that day, I wouldn't be on the path I am. It's weird, see, and that's where it comes around full circle. Is Kyle, I showed him Mighty Car Mods and drifting, and he found his purpose that way. I always wanted to be a pilot when I was little, but then once Kyle got back, I was like, I don't know what I want to do anymore. I didn't have a purpose for it anymore, and then I ended up turning my life around from where I was at because Kyle showed me that the Air Force was having a pilot shortage. So it's all about, really, the main goal for anyone in their life should be to lean on who you have and really focus on developing relationships with those who are around you and always be there for each other. It's nice. I mean, you also, one thing that you have that a lot of people don't is you're always willing to teach someone something new, regardless of what it is. The cars, I didn't know anything, you taught me. I didn't know anything about this stuff I'm doing for ROTC. You knew what it was, because you did it. And then just yesterday, or not yesterday, 2 days ago, when I wanted to learn the guitar, you're like, here, let me show you a few chords. Like, you're always willing to help someone. You'll take time out of your day, out of your schedule. You don't care. You're just like, yeah, I want to help. I want to make the world a better place, one person at a time, or one act at a time. And that, I wish more people had. But nowadays, it's so rare. That coffee is ice cold. What? Oh, wow.
Finding your purpose is not easy. It's one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do. And I'm still trying to figure it out every single day. But I at least now have some sort of a goal. I have an idea. I know where I want to go for the most part. And I'm going to chase that dream every single day. Every day is a new opportunity. It doesn't matter what happened the night before. What we have to do is we have to find that one thing that gets us out of bed in the morning. That one thing that we can focus on so intently that we completely forget to eat. It's that first cup of coffee in the morning. It's that feeling you get the first time you drive your car that you've put so much work into. It's the one thing that we feel so qualified that we could literally teach somebody else how to do it. That's the thing that's going to keep you moving. That's the thing that's going to keep you going on those nights when you're all by yourself and you have nobody there for you but you and your inner demons. That's the thing that's going to keep you moving. Whatever that purpose is, that's what's going to keep you going. Hold on to that. Keep it tight. And don't ever give up on it. It was hard for me to know exactly what my purpose was, but I knew I liked cars. And even though I couldn't fix myself, I knew I could always fix them. And it's that purpose. It's knowing what you were put on this earth for. It's what saved my life. If I had not found my purpose when I did, I would not be here to talk to you today. I've been on the edge. I've come back from it. I know what it's like. I've been there. And it's not worth it. It never is. And even though my time in the military is over, My future is only beginning. Ultimately, it's up to me to fix myself. But for today, I just want to fix my car. Because when I do, everything else just fades away. One piece at a time, I'll put these things back together, just like my heart. And I'll use every tool that I have to fix the dents in my life. And with the help of my family, I'll find my true purpose, and I'm not giving up until I do. So what is it? It's something that we're so passionate about that when we do it, we don't even see how much it affects us. It makes us smile. It makes us light up. It makes us feel something. It gives us that one reason, that one good reason to keep going. That's the thing that we have to hang on to every single day. Because you do have a purpose here. You just haven't found it yet. Trust me, I know. It took me a long time to figure it out. And I'm still tweaking it. I'm not 100% set yet. But I search for it every single day. And I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue to fight this every single day. Until the day that I can. But until that day, I'm going to be giving it my all. Because if there's one thing that I was raised to be, it's not a quitter. So now that I know what my purpose is, and I know my direction, the question is, what's yours?